At 6:17 this morning, our dispatcher gets a phone call from 64-year-old Thomas Schultz, who advises that we are in an impossible situation with no way out. Please send someone to secure the residence. As she tries to even engage in conversation, he says, "I have to go. I'm fixing to shoot myself." Our deputies respond to the 13,000 block of Graham Yarden Drive in Riverview. When they arrive on scene, they attempt to make entry towards the rear of the residence, and they find Mr. Schultz, who apparently died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A revolver was laying next to where he was seated. Fearing for the safety of any other occupants inside the residence, deputies make entry. They go into the first bedroom where they discover Schultz's wife, who was in her 80s, and apparently it appears to us that she was killed while she was sleeping. They walk over to the next bedroom and find Schultz's stepdaughter, who's in her 50s, and she was laying in a hospital bed with a feeding tube hooked to her, and she was also shot and killed while she was laying in the hospital bed. Now, we have learned from the family that both Schultz's wife and stepdaughter were suffering from terminal illnesses. With May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we're reminding everyone that there is no such thing as an impossible situation with no way out. There is always hope. There is always help. And here in the Tampa Bay area, we have such wonderful resources, some as easy as picking up the phone and calling the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay by simply dialing 211. It's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay not to ask for help. Take any questions at this time.
Do you know at the time of when he placed a 911 call if he had already committed the murders of the two other victims?
I think that we believe so, and then took his own life. I think he wanted us to come discover him. But again, that's part of the investigation. We still have deputies on scene, investigators, our forensic team. We'll figure that out.
How difficult is it for a 911 operator to be faced with someone going through a mental crisis situation such as this?
Well, it's extremely difficult for our 911 operators to take these types of phone calls. As she was trying to establish communication, he remained steadfast and very direct and blunt into what he wanted to say. I will tell you that this phone call to this dispatcher was extremely difficult because this dispatcher just lost a family member, a loved one, recently to suicide. So she's struggling even more than normal. But this is extremely difficult for our communicators, who are the first line to help to any law enforcement officer. And again, this one's extremely difficult because she just lost a loved one to suicide here recently. Tough one. We have had no previous calls for service at this residence. None of the occupants have any type of criminal history. Nothing out of the ordinary that would be a red flag to us. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Be safe.